this term was coined last summer when I attended the Nonviolence Institute in Rhode Island for the Summer Institute, which I hope some of you will consider going to this summer. In our small groups, we were challenged to come up with creative ways of interpreting this information for ourselves, of conveying the messages. And I was fortunate enough to be in a small group with two young men from Africa. One was from Tanzania and one was from Kenya. And so part of the way that we communicated some of the material was using this phrase that they came up with, which means courageous people. So that's kind of been taken hold, and some of us continue to use that. I wouldn't want to spend King Day. This is like my ideal situation of spending King Day with people who are working for social justice, for social change. I wanted to just take a few minutes to go through a couple of things, so I ask for indulgence. My father was an activist, and one of the things that he was passionate about was making King Day a national holiday. He died in 1999. And over the weekend, around this time of year, I always think of him and his work, and I was looking through some letters that he had written since the bill was introduced. Who knows when King Holiday became a holiday, became a federal holiday? Yes, in '83. Well, these letters are dated 1968 to 1974. So long before, that was a 15-year battle. So for people who are 26 and younger, we've always had King Day. And so it's easy to not think about that that was a hard-fought battle to get that. And my father would write to Congress people and media and civic organizations trying to encourage people to support the bill. And at the end of his letters, typewritten on old typewriters, he would tag them by saying, I had sent this letter to 58 other organizations. I sent this letter to 38, and some of them will be tailored. So his perseverance was just tremendous. In 1974, he decided to take a stand. He was a postal service worker in Evanston, special delivery messenger. So he went in one day and said, I'd like to request to take 8 hours off for Martin Luther King's birthday, to recognize Martin Luther King's birthday. He knew what the repercussions would be, but he thought that he had to take a stand. So he filled out the form. He had 208 hours due him of annual leave. He requested 8. He was told insufficient coverage. Denied. 15 other people at the post office, African Americans, chose to do the same thing. They were all denied. My father was the only one that defied the denial. He wrote elsewhere that we have to demand our rights. And so he didn't say, I want to take this to go to the doctor. He didn't make up a story. He felt that it was a step where he was going to make his position known. So he takes off the day. He goes to Operation Push, celebrates the day, comes back on January 16th. What do you think happened?
He was fired.
Not quite, but close. There was a letter reprimanding him and saying there are serious repercussions for this behavior in the future. And my father said, well, Irish people take off St. Patrick's Day and Jewish people take off, all these other holidays, so why can African Americans not do this? He took his case to anybody who would listen. There was a hearing in February of 1974, and at that hearing, the ACLU was there, the CEO officer was there, everybody was there. The result of that hearing was James Smith, this is on U.S. Postal Service letterhead, James Smith agreed to drop his discrimination suit pending the following. Removal of the warning letter from his permanent record. Number 2, reinstatement of his pay that he was docked for January 15th. And that in the future, the Evanston Postal Service will give all due consideration to African Americans asking to take Martin Luther King's holiday off. I have a newspaper clipping where it says mailman wins fight over King Day. So I just tell you that story to say that while we're here to celebrate King and the amazing leader that he was, he could not have done it without ordinary people and the ordinary people are people just like you. And your dad. And my dad.
And your dad.
Bless his soul. Okay, I wanted to say just a word about the curriculum that you'll be sharing with us in. It was developed by Bernard Lafayette and David Jensen. They both worked with Dr. King. Bernard Lafayette was a chief strategist. He's Jonathan's mentor, so Jonathan will talk about him more. But the interesting thing to note is that he was working with Dr. King in Memphis during the sanitation worker strike. And that's where what happened. So Bernard had sent him to work on the Poor People's Campaign in D.C. because economic justice was very important.
Dr. King had sent Bernard.
That's what I meant. Dr. King had sent Bernard to work on the Poor People's Campaign. But he had brought in some of the deputies that work on the sanitation worker strike. At any rate, when Bernard was going back to continue the work, Dr. King said to him, Bernard, the next thing that we need to do is institutionalize and internationalize nonviolence. That's the next big thing that we need to do. So Bernard listens. He gets on a plane. When he arrives, he receives word that Dr. King was shot and killed. So he has made it his life's work to carry on this work. So your presence here today, by being here, you're truly stepping into what King felt that were some of the next steps. I just want to introduce Jonathan and Kazu, which I'm so happy to have in town today. Jonathan was in the first class, were you, of people who were trained in this curriculum a long time ago, and he's trained all around the world. He's trained in Mexico, in Colombia, in Israel, and Nigeria, South Africa. So this, and Kazu will talk more about the global implications of this curriculum. And Kazu Haga, who is with the Peace Development Fund, but will also be facilitating with us today. I'd like to welcome him. That's all I have. I just want to again thank Crossroads and Woods and the Peace Development Fund. This would not be possible without you. There aren't enough of you around, so thank you very much. We won't be taking any breaks other than lunch. So if you have to excuse yourself, feel free to do that. And if we can all make sure that our cell phones are on. Okay? Thanks again for being here, and this is
Good morning.
Good morning.
Come on, y'all.
Good morning.
As cold as it is, please, let's warm each other up. We say we have it. And that is important for us to reflect that at every moment. So I'm going to try that again, please. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for that warm welcome. It feels so nice. But it is it's an honor and a privilege to be here today. In fact, I'm making this an annual thing. As I was here last year, this very time, doing a 2-day core with Liquid Challenge. Liquid. Also, I think some of the organizations in here participated as far as the kids know. But yeah, I've been working with Doc for a while, Dr. Lafayette. Growing up, I always felt like I was born at the wrong time. I really did. Felt like I was born at the wrong time. Growing up, I'd see a picture of my father, Yolanda King, and Yolanda King holding me. My father was very active too when he was young, right? So I always wanted to meet Dr. King. I go to school, get involved in some community organizing. I see the power of the people. I get the buzz, if you will. You guys know what I'm talking about. And then I still always, again, wanted to work with Dr. King. And Dr. Lafayette shows up on my college campus. So I think my prayers are answered. Dr. Lafayette, I walk up to him. I remember the words I said the first time. Good afternoon, Dr. Lafayette. My name's Jonathan Lewis, and we're going to be working together. Come by my office. You got to be careful when you say that to a man like that, because he's going to keep you working. The curriculum, as Pam has mentioned, was developed by Dr. Lafayette, or put in this little digestible bottle format. Because it's old stuff. It's been used by many people before. It's just put together so it's easier for us. We don't have to start at the same place. Now, that curriculum was put together with the effort of Dr. Lafayette, David Jensen, as well as Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte was Dr. King's best friend and made sure that he had everything that he wanted. His family was taken care of. For the last 3 years, I've been working for the Gathering for Justice, which is Harry Belafonte's organization. started out in New York, mid-'80s or so, where the curriculum was created then. Mr. Belafonte has been committing himself for the last 3+ years to doing this. That's how Kazu and I met, in fact, through the travels, doing this training, and trying to bring life to the movement, you know what I mean? And to everyday people who want to get involved, but don't really know how to, if you will. But I don't want to talk too much more about myself. Kazu will say a little about him, and then we want to hear from you guys. But understand today is a day of service, if you will, right? And what can you get out of life? Only what you put into it. So please, come here. I hope you're here with a desire of sharing what you know, because we're going to be just talking about Dr. King. No one of us in here believes we know everything. But the truth is in the whole, the power is within all of us. So we need for you to participate. Otherwise, it's going to be really boring.
Right.
And you don't want that, right? You don't want that, right?
No.
So Kazu, please, Kazu. And then we're going to...
I'll try to be quick. My name is Kazu. I'm the program coordinator for the Peace Development Fund. We're a foundation that's based in Massachusetts and San Francisco, supporting social justice work. And I want to thank Crossroads again for taking the lead on this because, like you said, I know as funders we're always asking our grantees to work together and collaborate, and we're terrible at doing that ourselves. And so it's really exciting to see. And I definitely want to keep it up. I started doing nonviolence training years ago when I lived in Massachusetts still. And after a couple of years of doing it, I actually stopped doing it, me and some of the friends that I was working with, because I always felt like there was something missing. Like something we were presenting, it wasn't fitting for me. And I realized in retrospect that what was missing were the principles. What we were teaching were the tactics on how to do direct action, right? But it didn't say anything about understanding the nature of violence and understanding what conflict is, how violence builds, and how we can de-escalate and end violence, which is a very different thing than how to blockade an intersection, right? And so when I came into this curriculum 2 years, a few years ago when I met this guy, I realized right away that this was the piece that was missing, and I've kind of been on this journey ever since. One of the things that I think is really cool about this curriculum is that it addresses the nature of conflict, right? It's about understanding conflict and how it works. And so it's equally applicable to interpersonal relationships as well as larger social contexts. So you can apply these same principles and these same strategies in addressing violence in your family, in your community, or in the world and the work that a lot of us do as community organizers. And so I think we got a really packed agenda. There's a lot to talk about. Nonviolence is way more than turning the other cheek. And so I'm gonna cut my comments short here and turn it back to Jonathan so that we can get you all more into the dialogue.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do our first activity, which is called peer introduction.